new phone.
Hey guys, chicken dinner mila kya?
No.
Well, I have something that can change that. The all guns blazing new POCO, bringer of chicken dinners.
Winner, winner, winner.
So how does it look?
It's killer.
Did someone say killer?
He meant a killer phone buddy.
Okay.
It's a fast loader, isn't it?
Sure is.
How would you describe the speed?
OP.
OP? QR? ST?
SMH.
OP. It's an overperformer. Overperformer.
Did someone say performer? Ta-da!
He meant the phone.
Ha! But he isn't. What? AWM and 8X के साथ you still miss 3 headshots? Fine. I'll go.
And what's your kill style? Can we get security to do something about this gentleman?
There's no way to treat a killer. Even on Halloween, I wasn't allowed to kill anyone.
Okay, so what's your favorite kill style?
पहले तो मैं कैजुअल गेमर थी, फिर 8x और मैं बेस्ट फ्रेंड्स बन गए, फिर स्नाइपिंग से लव स्टार्ट हो गया.
So how is it?
This is crystal clear.
There's something weird going on in this mall. Would you describe this phone as OP?
On point. Yes.
I'll take that. This brand new POCO phone will match with your style.
Can it handle video editing apps?
Audio, video and image editing apps all at the same time.
Looks good to be in our video.
It's fast.
Looks killer.
അടിപൊളി മോനെ.
Big moods.
It's man.
This is definitely a vibe.
Jackass. Sakatagidamaga.
And there you have it, the new POCO.
Now, can I kill someone?
Hi there, welcome to this very special POCO launch. Considering we've not met in months, I want to wish you a very happy 2021. I hope you have a successful year and hope you wish the same for POCO team as well. I am Anuj Sharma and I look after POCO in India. I also have, after a very long time, the entire POCO team with me here for this launch. So guys, say hi. Well, you know our portfolio. It's been super lean. Now, of course, you've got the POCO F series. That's where it all began. Then, last year, we introduced the POCO X series, giving you that flagship experience, but in a more pocket-friendly price. Of course, we had the mid-range powerhouses, the M2 Pro and M2, and early October, we introduced, for the first time, a C series product from POCO, the POCO C3, a very smart starter phone for almost everyone out there. Essentially, October was the first time where the entire POCO squad of phones assembled, and the results were phenomenal. In Big Billion Day sales in October, in less than a week, POCO sold more than 1 million phones. Now, all of them have come together to propel POCO to become the #3 brand online in this entire country. And we are extremely thankful again to all the POCO fam who've been supporting us, who've been giving us a lot of feedback and helping us get there. Now this goes to show that the POCO core philosophy of everything you need, nothing you don't, implies even for a portfolio. POCO had one of the smallest portfolios amongst all brands in the country, yet we were able to hit the #3 position. That goes to show having good phones is more important than having more phones, and POCO will continue to focus on giving you the best quality you can get in the country amongst any phone brand, and that's going to be a focus going forward as well. Here's a quick recap of POCO in 2020. Check it out.
That's what I'm talking about. Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Introducing the all-new POCO M3. Killer looks, OP performer. Well, this one is a phenomenal product. But let me talk about the first aspect of it, killer looks. Now, when we say killer looks on the POCO M3, we really mean it. The M3 probably is the best looking device that you've ever seen in this segment. The back panel has this amazing leather-like finish. Now that helps not just with the looks, but the ergonomics as well. You've got a better grip and it does not take fingerprints. But when I'm talking about the overall looks, you can also see the camera module. Now this camera module has two purposes. It looks good, of course, but the second one is it's just 1 millimeter thick. That means it is reducing your wobbles when you're keeping this phone on the table. And all of that coming together in 3 amazing colors. Now you've got this really cool blue. You've got, for the people who want a little more understated design, you've got this power black, and introducing for the very first time the all-new POCO yellow. Now this yellow looks unlike anything out there, and these are our brand colors. Of course, I am absolutely sure that all the POCO fam out there is going to love this particular phone. Not to forget, you also have a really fast side-mounted fingerprint, so your back always looks right and clean, and it weighs less than 197 grams. It's sexy and you know it. Now multimedia is more important than ever before. What you see and what you hear on your phone has to be top-notch. Last year, when we were launching the POCO M2, this is what we said.
Today, Indians all across the country are connected to the internet and viewing hours and hours of content. But still, they do not have access to high-quality displays to view this content.
It's 2021 and this is still happening. Kya hai? Now I can understand why some of these brands choose to use a HD Plus display, essentially to save some money. However, at POCO, we think this is a compromise that we cannot make. And that's why on the POCO M3, you are getting a full high-definition plus display. I'll give you 2 examples on why you need to have a full high-definition plus display. The first one is when you're watching movies or maybe even looking at pictures. You're holding your phone about 1 foot away from your eyes. You can start seeing those edges in an HD Plus display. This is where a pixel density starts really mattering. And the second point is when you're reading text. Now when I'm saying text, it just does not have to be documents, can be even web pages or even probably news. This is where you start seeing those jagged edges on the text. And a full high definition display starts making a difference here. Now how much of a difference is there when I'm talking about pixel density? 20%, 30%? It's actually 2.2 times more pixels in the same space when you're choosing a full high definition display of a POCO M3 versus a competitor's HD Plus display. Now, not just a better display, but a more immersive one as well. On the POCO M3, you're getting a large 6.53-inch display. Now, this is amazing when you're watching movies and you get that edge-to-edge play. And when I'm talking about edge-to-edge play, you also have a screen-to-body ratio of more than 90%. The POCO M3 comes with Corning Gorilla Glass protection. And because we all want a little more, thoda zyada, we've got a pre-applied screen protector on every M3 coming out of the factory so that you are even more protected. Now, to complete this entire multimedia story, you get a stereo speaker setup. Now, that means you can enjoy all your content in stereo right from the phone. But that does not mean we've forgotten about the 3.5mm headphone jack. It's still there. And so is the fan favorite IR Blaster that lets you control thousands and thousands of devices straight from your phone without ever having to walk those extra 2 feet to pick up a remote. What you see on the full high definition display and what you hear on the stereo speakers is perfect for your everyday multimedia. The next part I want to talk about is the OP performer part, or performance. However, we're going to do it a little differently and explain a bit more. Normally, everyone would just put AnTuTu scores and say that my CPU is better, but a CPU is not the complete story. We want to talk about the 3 key things that you need in every device for it to perform well. Yes, the CPU or the SoC is important, but so is the RAM. Otherwise, how does the CPU get its information? Equally important is the storage. How quickly can you read your apps or your data off the storage, move it to your RAM, and have it processed by the CPU. And that's where the trilogy of performance becomes super important. Now, the first part is the RAM. The RAM is one of the key components when it comes to performance. And like the M2, on the M3, we are not compromising on the RAM either. You've got a 6 GB of LPDDR4X RAM. And let me differentiate that from, obviously, a lot of competitors having 4 GB RAM and some folks having LPDDR4 RAM. Now, 4 and 4X are different. But what you get with this is better multitasking, being able to switch between apps, and of course, overall better performance. When you're talking about LPDDR4X RAM, you get 2 key advantages over a DDR3 or DDR4, and that's essentially more performance and lower battery consumption. Now, to demonstrate what the 6 GB of LPDDR4X RAM can do on the M3 versus other devices using 4 GB of RAM, let's take a look at this quick video. Now, you just saw the advantage of having 6 GB of LPDDR4X RAM. And when you've got so many apps in your system, you also need to take care of the kind of storage it has. And that brings me to the second part of the trinity, which is how good is your storage on the phone. Well, on the POCO M3, we are using either 64 or 128 GB of storage. But the good part is not the size of the storage, but the type of storage. On the POCO M3, you are getting UFS 2.2. Now this, when compared to eMMC 5.1, which is there in probably almost all devices in this segment, gives you read and write speeds of 3 times the magnitude. When you've got a lot of apps, when you're loading that large game, or when you're transferring movies, this starts making a difference along with the high-speed RAM that you've got. Now, to complete this performance trinity, we've got RAM, high-speed storage, and processor. We've got the Qualcomm Snapdragon 662. Now, the 662 is an 11 nanometer processor. That means, along with performance, you're also getting better battery efficiency. Even from a gaming perspective, the Adreno 610 is up to almost every task. And you've got a new ISP, the Spectra 340 for photography. All these 3 things combined together is giving you the OP performer POCO M3. With the M3, we're taking it one step forward. We're including a massive 6000 mAh battery. Now, most of the phones with 6000 mAh are heavy, but not the M3. For me personally, I get more than 2 days easy. But from a stats perspective, you get 185 hours plus of music playback, more than 18 hours of streaming video. Now that is something that you really want to look forward to. In the M3, you're getting support for an 18-watt fast charger, and that fast charger is in the box. So you go from 0 to 100 real quick, but 100 to 0 takes a long time. We are bringing back Better Battery 2.0 on the POCO M3. Now what does that mean? An average battery has about 800 charge-discharge cycles at room temperature, which is about 25 degrees centigrade. But if the temperature rises, let's say 45 degrees, this takes a massive hit on your battery's charge-discharge cycles. Well, with Better Battery 2.0, we managed to extend it. In room temperature, you can get almost 1000 charge cycles. But even in that extreme heat, you're getting 600 charge cycles. What this means is your phone lasts longer because your battery does not deteriorate till these cycles are done. And all of this hardware is further optimized with various software features which takes care of your battery as well as the drain on a day-to-day basis. Now coming to the cameras, we know that all of you guys love photography. That's why we're taking the 13 megapixel camera on the POCO M2 and changing it to a massive 48 megapixel camera on the M3. You're going to absolutely love the cameras on the M3. The main sensor is now a half-inch sensor that lets in a lot more light and lets you do some amazing things. But what we've not forgotten about is the versatility. You still have a depth sensor for your portraiture and the macro lens that lets you get really close to all the subjects. To get an idea of what the cameras on the POCO M3 are capable of, let's take a look at this quick video. Now that you've seen what the camera is like on the POCO M3, you also saw the multimedia prowess, the way it looks, or the overall performance. I want to go one step further and talk about the overall experience. And that comes in with the software that binds it all together. It comes with MIUI 12 out of the box, but with the familiar POCO launcher that all of you guys have come to love. You have a very clean, minimal UI, but along with that, a whole bunch of personalization options. You've got dark mode, you can change icons, you can change fonts, but I know the favorite part that all of you guys love is this is not monetized. That means this is probably the only device in its class that does not have ad-supported UI. Now the POCO M3 experience goes even further when it comes to connectivity. The first one is dual VoLTE. That means both your SIMs can latch on to the independent VoLTE networks. The second one is dual VO Wi-Fi or voice over Wi-Fi. That means when you're at home and say your LTE network isn't very strong, you can use Wi-Fi networks to also make phone calls. And the third one being the dual band Wi-Fi. That means the POCO M3 is able to connect to both 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz Wi-Fi networks. And obviously, we all know with 5 GHz, you can get better download and upload speeds. So that is the POCO M3 for you. Killer design, OP performer. But before I get to the price, kitne ka milega? Let me take a look at what else is there amongst the competition. From a RAM perspective, all of these are at 4 GB, while at POCO, we are at 6 GB. M3 is the only device in its class to have a full high definition display. And while all the others have a mono speaker, the POCO M3 features a stereo immersive setup. As you saw, the POCO M3 excels at almost every parameter. Now coming down to how much will it cost, the pricing. Now the POCO M3 comes in 3 colors and 2 variants, 6GB and 64GB and 6GB and 128GB. I'm happy to announce that the 6GB 64GB variant will be available at rupees 10,999 only. And the 6GB 128GB, this is the one with the UFS 2.2 storage, will be available at rupees 11,999 only. Now, along with this, we've got some really exciting launch offers for all of you guys. So watch out for the first sale on Flipkart on the 9th of February at 12 noon. I would like to thank our streaming partners and of course all of you for joining us today. So this is the POCO M3, killer looks, OP performer. I'm absolutely sure all of you guys are going to love this. Thank you, take care, stay safe.